Now it's time to think about wood. We love wood around here, so we think about it all the time. Specifically, what kind of wood shall we use for this sculpture? Since I'm the artist, I get to make the decision, and I've decided on alternating teak and white maple. I made a small piece out of teak and maple some time ago. Here's a picture of it. You can see that the teak contrasts nicely with the maple. Teak costs about 4 times as much as maple. This plank of teak, 6 feet long, was about $200, while this is about $50 worth of maple. I'll show you this in a minute. But I should have some leftover teak to make something else when I'm done. The problem we have with the design is that the bottom of the sculpture in the model is about 9 or 10 inches wide. It's right here, maybe even 11. But the teak plank is only 7 inches wide, and the maple is 8.5. So what do? We cut the first few pieces on an angle. I marked the planks with the intended cuts. With my new saw, I can cut these lengths and angles no problem. You can also see this custom shape right here is the same as this, and I'll cut that out with my jigsaw. I want the factory edge here to be the piece we glue up against. I need to reposition the camera, then I'll start cutting. Well, I'm glad that's over with. Sawing's not all it's cracked up to be. Got to do it to be a wood artist though. So I've got my cut pieces here. So look how nice those came out. Everything's just about the right length. I put them together and I drew this line down here to sort of get them oriented correctly. Because you can see it pretty much matches our model. Not exactly, but pretty close. And so our next step is we're going to be adding some more typical pieces. So I've saved these for my last project. You see that I'll be able to put these on here. Sort of like that. And that will give us our 6.5 inches. So I think we're good to go. I'm going to figure out a way to glue all these up, and I'll talk about that next. It's nice having 2 cameras. Okay, there's the result of that little fast motion video you just saw. Came out pretty nice. Needs some finish work, but other than that, looks pretty good. So we'll switch to the other camera. I'll show you how it fits on the model. So here we go. Back to here. We'll put this right in here, like this. Fits pretty well, I'd say. Now what we have to do next is fill up the rest of that part in there with maybe another 4 inches worth of pieces. So I'll cut those special, make that. We'll finish off the base. Then the next big step is cutting the field pieces for the rest of the curvy thing. So to finish off this sequence, I'm going to make this about this much longer. And I'll probably use my router to flatten it out. Alright, we're making progress. Look what we got here. Pretty much the tail, as I call it, is finished. Put these last 3 rows on. But it's not smooth, and it's going to have to be sanded before I go any farther. And let me show you why. Back to the model. If I go ahead and start this and make this curve and glue it all together, I won't be able to get the sander in here and get it nice and flat. Or on this piece I won't be able to get that nice and flat either. So what we're going to do is move this out of the way. I'm going to take this piece as it is. I'm going to put it in this setup I have here. I'm going to use my router to go across it a bunch of times to get it perfectly flat on both sides. Well, you can tell by the sawdust on my shirt that I've been busy. I used my jigsaw to take the edges off here after you saw it when I did it through router. And I sanded it, used my spindle sander. Not much to watch, so I didn't film it, but basically I wanted to get to this point because now we're going to go to stage 2. One disadvantage to using the router is I cut quite a bit of material off there. Now it's only 1.5 inches, and my stock is 1 3/4 inches. So I'm going to have to trim that down so that when I cut these pieces, ones like this, all the field pieces, they're going to go on there. You're going to have to be a little bit thinner. That's okay. That's how art goes. Might be slightly smaller as a result. That's okay too. So next steps. Here's the model again. Can't get enough of that model. We've made this part. I'm going to start, after I cut the pieces from my planks, I'm going to build the this thing, make a curve to about here. That's about where we'll stop and talk some more. So next step, sawing and trimming and cutting and drilling. I'll film some of that for you.